Hello, class. Good day. I welcome you to another section of our class for this course. This is plantain farming, and the title that we'll be looking at in this module is plantain farming, plantain farm management and crop maintenance. This is module 4, which implies that this is the first video for this course. We still have another more 6 videos to go, and in this module we will be discussing the topic plantain farm management and crop maintenance, which implies that we're mainly discussing how to manage our plantain farm and how to actually maintain crops, especially plantain. So now let's move on to the contents, the module contents. Below are the subtopics or the topics that we'll be discussing in this module. In this module, learners will learn the following. One, fertilizer application techniques. Learner will learn about fertilizer application techniques. Then learner will also learn about pest and disease management. After that, learner will also learn about organic versus inorganic farming practices. Learner will also learn about pruning and farm sanitation. Learner will also learn about harvesting techniques and best practices. Another subtopic in this module that we'll be discussing is storage and preservation, followed by record breaking and farm management skills. And lastly, in this module, learners will learn about climate change and its effects on plantain farming. So these are the topics that we'll be looking at in this module. Now let's move on to the introduction. Let's introduce ourselves to the module. We've been discussing about plantain farming over our previous modules. So now it's just important to just discuss about it, give us a kind of introduction about what plantain farming is. Actually, it is an important branch of agriculture that actually plays a major role in food production, income generation, and rural development in Nigeria and other tropical regions. Now, plantain is a staple food crop widely consumed in various forms, such as boiled, fried, roasted, and so on and so forth. It could also be when be produced as flour and chips. Now, its cultivation, that is plantain farming cultivation, involves several key practices that actually determine productivity, including site selection, soil management, land preparation, nursery establishment, and so on and so forth. So this is that about plantain farming. We have introduced ourselves to what plantain farming is majorly. And let's move on to the topics that we'll be discussing in this module. We'll be looking at fertilizer application techniques. So how can we apply our fertilizers to our farm? So we're looking at these different techniques one properly. We have fertilizer application. What do we refer to that? It is an important practice in plantain farming because plantain plants requires adequate nutrients for healthy growth, strong growth development, and high fruit yield. So proper fertilizer application will help improve nutrient availability. It will also increase productivity, enhance food quality, and also at the same time support sustainable plantain farming. Now, farmers make use of both organic fertilizers such as compost and animal manure, and inorganic fertilizers such as NPK and urea, depending on soil condition and crop requirements. Now, the method and timing of fertilizer application are very important in plantain farming because when we have a case of improper application, this can definitely lead to nutrient loss, poor plant growth, and environmental pollution, and also even increased production costs. So this is why our fertilizer application is very essential. There are several fertilizer application techniques that is used in plantain farming, but one common method is the ring method, where fertilizer is applied in a circular band round the base of the plant at a safe distance from the stem. So these methods help prevent root burn and ensures efficient nutrient absorption. Another method is the sports application method. We have mentioned firstly the we have mentioned the ring method. Now another one is sports application method, whereby fertilizer is placed in small holes around the plants and covered with soils. Now let's move on to the next subject, which is pest and disease management. How can we manage pest and diseases? This is a very important aspect of successful plantain farming because pest and disease can significantly essentially reduce plant growth, yield, and plant yield, and even food quality. Now, plantain pests are harmful organisms that feed on or damage different parts of the plant. And common pests affecting plantain include banana weevils, nematodes, grasshoppers, aphids, and caterpillars, and so on and so forth. Now, banana weevils, they attack the corn. They come and weaken the plants, while the nematodes, they damage the roots and reduce nutrient absorption. Now, we have several methods that are used in managing pests and diseases in plantain farming. One important method is the use of healthy and disease-free planting materials such as sod, suckers, and issue culture plantlets. Farmers are actually advised to avoid using infected suckers because they can spread to the plantation as a whole. Now let's look at the comparison. Let's compare organic versus and inorganic farming practices. Let's actually compare and contrast. Let's look at the difference between these two farming practices. Organic. They are both two major agricultural systems used in crop production, including plantain farming. Organic farming, now we are going to take it one after the other. It is an agricultural system that depends mainly on natural substances and biological processes for crop production. Now, in plantain farming, organic practices include the use of compost, animal manure, grain manure, crop rotation, mulching, biological pest control, and organic pesticide. On the other hand, inorganic farming, which is also known as conventional farming, it actually involves the use of synthetic fertilizers, chemical pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and modern technologies to improve the crop production. In plantain farming, inorganic fertilizers such as NPK, urea, and potassium fertilizer are commonly applied to supply nutrients quickly and improve plant growth. There are several differences between these two farming practices, where that is the organic and inorganic farming practice. Organic farming uses natural fertilizers and biological methods, while on the other hand, inorganic farming depends mainly on synthetic chemicals and industrial inputs. Also, organic farming promotes environmental sustainability and soil conservation, whereas on the other hand, inorganic farming focuses more on rapid production and high output. Now, let's look at the next of which is pruning in plantain farming. Pruning and farm sanitation are important management practices in plantain farming because they actually help maintain healthy plants, improve yield, reduce pests and disease, and so on and so forth. Now, what do we refer to as pruning? What do we call pruning? Pruning is actually the removal of unwanted, dead, diseased, and damaged leaves, suckers, and plant parts from the plantain plant. Plantain plants naturally produce several suckers around the mother plant, but not all of them are needed for proper growth. Farmers usually remove excessive suckers to reduce overcrowding and ensure that nutrients and water are directed to the healthy and productive plants only. So this operation is commonly done using cutlasses, using knives, or pruning tools. Proper pruning improves sunlight penetration and air movements within the farm, which actually help reduce fungal disease such as black sigatoka. Now, there are different types of pruning carried out in plantain farming. The suckering is the removal of excessive suckers around the mother plant to maintain healthy, and I think we have mentioned this. Now, let's move to farm sanitation. What do we refer to as farm sanitation? This actually refers to keeping the farm environment clean, just like we know what the word sanitation means. So now we are, as the sanitation, now we are applying it to farm setting. It's just keeping the farm environment clean and free from materials or conditions that may encourage pests, diseases, or poor plant growth. Now, good farm sanitation includes regular weeding, removal of dead plants, proper disposal of infected plant materials, cleaning drainage channels, and maintaining clean water sources. However, farmers are actually encouraged to remove fallen leaves, rotten fruits, and crop residues from the plantation because they may serve as breeding grounds for harmful organisms. Farm tools and equipment should also be cleaned regularly to prevent the transfer of diseases and so on. Now, let's move on to harvesting techniques and best practices. Well, I believe you know what the word harvest implies or what the word harvest means, but let's just take it one after the other. Harvesting actually is one of the most important stages in plantain farming because it determines the quality, market value, and shelf life of the produce. In Nigeria, many tropical countries or states, in Nigeria and many tropical countries, plantain harvesting is usually carried out when the fruits have reached full maturity but are still green and firm. Proper harvesting techniques help reduce damage to the fruits, maintain quality, and improve profitability for farmers. Plantain bunches are heavy and delicate, so careful handling during harvesting is necessary to prevent bruising cuts. Proper harvesting practices include using clean and sharp tools, harvesting during sharp tools, harvesting during cool periods of the day, and removing damaged or diseased fruits immediately. So now let's look at storage and preservation. How can we store and preserve our plantain? When we are talking about plantain farming, storage and preservation, they are very important because fresh plantain is highly perishable and can spoil quickly if not properly handled or if not properly preserved. Now, fresh plantain should be stored in a cool, dry, clean, and well ventilated environment. It is very essential to avoid for it to get spoiled quickly. So high temperature and excessive humidity encourage rapid ripening and microbial growth, while poor ventilation may cause heat buildup and spoilage. Now, proper packaging and transportation are a very important part of storage and preservation. Plantain should be packed carefully in baskets, cartons, or padded containers to minimize physical damage during transport. Effective harvesting, storage, and preservation practices provide many benefits in plantain farming. They actually reduce post-harvest losses, improve food quality, increase market value, and enhance profitability for farmers, traders, and processors. Now, record keeping and farm management skills. This is this actually has to, is a skill that is very essential in farming. So record keeping in farming, it actually refers to the systematic collection and documentation of important information related to farm activities and operation. Now let's look at the importance of keeping records in plantain farming. We have one, keeping accurate farm records provides many benefits to farmers. The importance include it helps farmers monitor farm performance, assist in planning and budgeting. It helps to calculate profits and loss, improve decision making, and also provide information for obtaining loans and financial support. Now let's look at still on the importance of record keeping in plantain farming. Now we have different types of records that are kept in plantain farming depending on the activities carried out on the farm. We have the production records, we have the financial records, inventory records, labor records, sales and marketing records. If you look at all the records, they are just as a step-by-step records that is very essential, and they are actually interwoven in a proper setting or proper plantain farming setting. Production records contain information about farm production activities, just as the name implies. Financial, on the other hand, show the income and expenses of the farm. The inventory records show the materials and equipment available on the farm. The labor records contain information about workers and labor activities, while lastly, the sales and marketing records provide information about produce sold and market activities. Now let's move on to farm management skills in plantain farming. This actually involves planning, organizing, directing, and controlling farm resources and activities to achieve maximum productivity and profit. The necessary or most important farm management skills are planning skills, decision making skills, financial management skills, and communication skills. So planning skills, just as the name implies, it has to do with planning, which planning actually these skills help farmers organize farm activities before production begins. Decision making has to do with that farmers must make good decisions regarding farm operations. Proper financial management also helps farmers to use money wisely. That goes with the financial management skills. While good communication also is important in managing workers, buyers, and extension officers. Now let's look at climate change and its effects on plantain farming. Now, what do we refer to as climate change? This actually refers to long-term changes in weather patterns such as temperature, rainfall, humidity, and frequency of extreme weather events. Now, in agriculture, climate change has become a major challenge because it directly affects crop growth, soil condition, pests, and disease patterns, and so on. So, plantain is a tropical crop that grows best under consistent rainfall. We should not forget about this. Moderate temperatures and high humidity. However, climate change has actually disrupted this natural condition in many farming areas. One of the major effects is irregular rainfall patterns. Farmers now experience unpredictable rainy seasons, delayed rainfall, excessive rainfall. The weather is very difficult or complicated to predict these days. Rain can just start forming, and it's not following the normal pattern of the olden days that we know. So that everything is changing. So too little rainfall leads to drought stress, causing poor plant growth, reduce of leaf size, and low yield. On the other hand, Excessive rainfall can also lead to waterlogging, which damages plantain roots, reduces oxygen supply in the soil, and increases the risk of root rot. Another important effect of climate change is rising temperature. Higher temperatures can increase water loss through evaporation from both soil and plant leaves. Now, in conclusion, plantain farming has actually remained a highly valuable agricultural enterprise that supports food security, income generation, and economic development in Nigeria and tropical regions and other tropical regions. Now, the success of plantain production depends largely on the proper application of recommended agronomic practices such as appropriate site selection, soil testing, land preparation, nursery management, and so on and so on. What have you? So now, when these practices are properly implemented that we've discussed in this module, they will actually lead to improved soil fertility, healthy crop growth, higher yields, better food quality, and